You're a mom? You must have lots of help. Your husband must do everything for you. You can't be left alone with your kids. These are some of the things that people have said to me, and they're very well-meaning. It just means that they care so much. I value that, but there's been a lot of short-sighted comments that people have said simply because they just don't know me, and simply because they just don't understand how someone in a wheelchair like me, with paralyzed hands and paralyzed legs in a wheelchair, could take care of a little baby or could take care of kids in general. Stick around till the very, very end, and I'm going to share the worst discrimination that I've received as a mom in a wheelchair. So today I'm going to share about my life, just a day in the life of a mom in a wheelchair with paralyzed hands and the things that I do just day to day. And I do have a lot of help now because my husband does work from home, and so he really does help a ton with this sweet little baby, and even the baby that we had before this because he worked from home then. But all of these things I did on a daily basis all by myself with my very first one. And I do a lot of these things day to day too, because my husband really does work. He's just in the other room. So a lot of what I do now involves helping my baby try to sleep. She's not the best sleeper. She actually does the best sleeping when I'm talking. And so right now for this video, she's in complete comfort heaven because I'm speaking, and the whole time I was pregnant with her, like I'm a speaker, and so I would like be speaking. And sometimes to calm her and lull her in her bed, we'll play my talks. And so we have a little speaker that will just turn up the volume, and she'll get to hear her mom giving a speech to some audience somewhere. And that helps her to feel it's better than music for her. In fact, when she was first born, I sang to her, and she was like, because it's not, not something she heard. She just likes it when I talk. And so, but that's a lot of my day. It's a lot of my everyday right now is helping her get to sleep and stay asleep. She just doesn't feel terribly comfortable doing that just yet. I'm trying to help her sleep in her crib. So I get her in her crib and I give her little Binky and I help her feel comfortable, and she almost goes to sleep and it looks like she's asleep. Then I quietly close the doors and then she wakes up. So then I open up the doors and I help her get back to sleep, and then close the doors again and she wakes up, and it happens over and over and over. Sometimes I'll even get to the point where I can leave the room a little bit, and then I have to come back and help her with her little Binky. And so that's how we try the first nap of the day. We always practice in the crib, just so she can get that kind of practice. We change diapers a lot, pretty regularly, which is good. It means your delicious food is moving through you. That's wonderful. And so pull her out, put her on the changing table, change her diaper, often change her clothes. On the changing table, sometimes we'll pull up the boppy and we'll play some toys. We have a little giraffe toy that we play with. It's like a little baby chew toy that eventually she'll start chewing on, but for now, it's just something we're introducing her to. She's not terribly interested in it. Another toy that we have is a little tiny rattle. Again, she's not very interested. I try to help her, taste it a little bit and get the feel for it, but she's still learning her world, so we're just taking it slow. I'll put her in the Moby, and we'll do our second nap and third naps in the Moby, because she sleeps the best when she's sleeping on me, next to me, snug up against me. And, so I'll put her in the Moby, and then I'll get to where I can be, and then we will just sort of stay there because she doesn't actually love it when I start moving around. So eventually I'm sure she'll get to the point where I can move around a little bit more, and I can, sweep the floor, mop the floor, make dinner or whatever with her in the Moby, like I did with my other kids. But with her, she just likes me to be pretty still and talk. So she wants me to give a speech in a very still manner. I'm not a big TV watcher at all, but she doesn't even like it when I dink around on my phone, go shopping or texting or anything. And so I'm just sort of stuck watching sitcoms or whatever. I really like Monk. It's my go-to. And so anyway, I watch more of that than I ever have, I think, in my whole life, and never have I ever watched a TV show by myself. So this is new territory for everybody. Even though I'm a mom in a wheelchair for an infant, I've got two other kids. I've got an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. And so I try every day to do at least one activity with each of them, or sometimes both of them. So with my 5-year-old, sometimes we'll play Play-Doh. She likes Play-Doh. So I try to get her to play with Plato, the philosopher. Like, that's more my speed. But she likes, the clay. And so sometimes we'll play that. Sometimes we'll play board games. We have this big blue ball. We call it blue ball bounce. I know that's very creative. And we can play, back and forth with it. She is one of those kids who changes her mind all the time. And so she's always making up, the rules for it. And I don't mind at all, but we just bounce it back and forth. And that's something I can do with her and she can do with me, and we have a good time. My other daughter is more grown up. She likes to show me the things that she's doing. She's right, she's really into projects and stuff. So, and then it's back to being a mom for an infant in a tiny little body. And she's kind of funny because she doesn't like to just be in the Moby like a normal, baby that's in a Moby. With me especially, like with my husband, he can Moby her and she just fits nice and tight, and he can do yard work or whatever with her in the Moby. But with me, she likes to be free. She likes her upper half to be free. So she likes her arms out. She definitely likes her head out. If I try to cover her head, worst thing ever. She'll wake up and cry. She hates that so much. And so yeah, I'm just kind of stuck being still, at least for this little while. And I've got friends who are like, oh, enjoy it while it lasts. Soon she's gonna grow up and be going to college like my daughter is, So I'm trying to enjoy it while it lasts. Sometimes in the middle of it, it's a little bit hard, but we're just taking it one day at a time, huh? Sometimes I can't actually stay still with my little baby in the Moby and watch, TV all day long. There are things that demand attention that are time sensitive. I have to act on those. Maybe the doorbell rings, or I have to get one of my kids for something, or whatever. I don't know. But I've got her, half out the Moby because she doesn't love to be secured inside the Moby, and also she doesn't love it when I move. She'll wake up when I move, and so. But if I can keep my one arm around her, and I can push with my other, hand, and I can make it, down the hall, and I'll push off the walls, push my wheelchair, push off the walls. So that's how we get around when we gotta get around and keep someone asleep. Sometimes if she really is feeling really secure in there and she's awake, but she's pleasantly enjoying, being in the Moby and going around, then we definitely bank on those times. We definitely love those times, and we'll go outside, we'll go look at the garden, maybe we'll weed a little bit, smell the fresh air, get some sunshine on our little skin. And so that's something that we love to do. I never know exactly when she's going to wake up, and so I always actually have to be prepared for when she does, because multitasking isn't one of my luxuries sometimes. And so I always have to be prepared with a bottle. So I'll go and I'll make the bottle, and I can open the fridge just fine, and I can pour the bottle just fine, I can add the water just fine, put on the top just fine, and then I just have it ready just in case she wakes up and she's ready to eat, which she is often ready to eat. So a bottle handy is something that I really need to do. And if I really find myself in a jam and I don't have a bottle and she's awake, then I have a choice to just leave her in her crib and she can cry for a little bit longer while I get it together with the bottle. Or I can ask my husband, who's just a phone call away in the other room working. A lot of times I have to put in her Binky, and it's a little bit tricky because her Binky is rubber, and then of course she's getting her hands in the way, and she'll do a lot of stuff where she's pushing away from her mouth when she really wants the Binky, but she'll push it away. And then my hands are paralyzed too, and so it's kind of like her little cute able-bodied hands and my paralyzed hands are two different sets of disabilities that are getting in the way of this Binky to the mouth. And so I use my right hand sometimes, and I'll put it in the back of my hand to put it in her mouth, and that's the easy way that I can get it in her mouth when she's in some positions. Other positions, like if she's in her swing or something, I can put her Binky in with my left hand. I can grab a little bit with my left hand, so I can do that. And then if she's actually on my person in the Moby, to put the Binky in her mouth, I actually do this. I just actually realized this is the best way. I'm not sure if I've ever done this before with my other two kids, but I'll put the Binky in like this with my hand to where I've got the back of it coming out. The back of my hand, the front of it like this. Oh, look, we might have the best opportunity right now show you how it's done. Oh, we just had a little bit of acid reflux. That's so ouchy. Do you want a Binky right now? Should we see? And then I can just pull it in, put it into the front of her mouth like this. And so it kind of looks like I'm trying to keep my hand over her mouth and like make her be quiet, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm just putting the Binky in, and then once she's sucking on it, then I can slide my hand off of it. Should we try? Should we try? Do you like that little Binky? Do you like that Binky? There we go. There we go. See? There you go. That couldn't have been better. We have lots of kisses that we do. I gotta kiss her all the time because I can't get enough kisses. But then also, I'm really glad that God gave me really big lips because she'll like bounce off me very often. She's like, when I first put her in the Moby, she like tries to bounce off me and she pushes off my chest with her hands. It's like her best exercise time. I don't know. She just really likes doing that. And then she'll like come down toward my chest kind of fast sometimes, you know, a little bit hard. And I don't want her to get hurt, like bonking her head on my collarbone or on my chin or anything. And so what I'll do is I'll pucker up and I'll try to just catch her with my lips everywhere she comes back down, like trying to catch her with my lips, and then give her kisses because my lips are squishy and soft, and then that like cushions the fall back onto my chest that she's doing. It's one of the tricks. My two older girls love to play toys with Coco, and so my older daughter will get our little baby and put her in the little bouncer seat that is on the floor, and then both girls will just take turns, you know, playing toys with Coco. We use the term play very lightly, you know, more just showing her the toys and smiling at her and playing with her little feet, playing with her hands. They just love to see her up close and personal like that. As a mom in a wheelchair to a little baby, especially this little baby that doesn't like it when I move around too much when she's in the Moby, or she wants me to stay still. But there's still things I have to do, like as a mom and a wife, you know, like make dinner, make lunch. And so when I have to make some food, what I do is I'll put her in the swing, and then I'll go and I'll make some food, and she'll need a Binky, she'll need, you know, a bottle. I can do those things while she's in the swing too. And so it's just a little slow process, and we've got our systems figured out, and it just works. It just works because we make it work. I don't really like the phrase that like everything will work out. I don't really like that phrase. I like more the phrase like we can work things out. Like I don't think things just work out because they're gonna work out, you know, like no matter what it is, it's gonna end whether you worked it out or not. But I think that if we put a little bit of effort into stuff, and if we can figure out what we gotta do, then we're going to be able to figure out how we can do it. And so this is how we do it. This is how we do it. This is how we get dinner made. This is how we get other kids happy. This is how we get little baby happy. This is how we stay sane. We just figure it out. Huh. Yep, she agrees. There are things that I don't do as a mom in a wheelchair to an infant. I know that other people, they get nervous about me doing anything with a baby because of my paralyzed hands and the fact that I'm in a wheelchair and I don't have any tummy muscles that work, any back muscles that work. But I really can do most things for my baby and take care of my baby in a very healthy way. And I'm very clear to myself and others about the things that I don't feel comfortable doing because I don't feel safe about it. Something that I won't do with a little infant is I won't give her a bath by myself because that's a slippery little baby that could slip right out of some paralyzed hands, and so I just draw the line at that. I just don't do that. So that's something my husband does, and with the help of my girls, and I'm there with the towel waiting, ready to go, you know, so it's not like I'm not a part of it. I don't put her away from me, like in the car seat in the car. That's something that I can't do. I think it's fine to admit where we have to draw the line or where the line's been drawn for us and say, hey, I can do everything else. I can't do these things. And if we're just clear about that, then I think that we can live healthy, wonderful, productive lives, getting the help when we need it, and then doing everything independently where we can. I don't think this life is about being completely independent for anybody, even if you are completely able-bodied with opposable thumbs and everything. Like, I don't think this life is all about independence. I think it's about using our talents in the ways that we can and letting other people do the same. And how, when they work together, then we actually become more unified, closer, have relationships, and are more successful in a bigger way than we could be by ourselves. My limitations are really obvious to other people, but I think maybe other people don't see my abilities as easily as my limitations. And so there's sometimes people don't really recognize that I really can do lots of things. And, they haven't had experience with that. You can't blame them. And so they do say some short-sighted things sometimes, like I said in the beginning. So the worst thing that's ever happened to me as a mom to children, as a mom in a wheelchair to children, happened actually before I even had kids. I was pregnant with my first daughter, and I met a man, we only had a brief conversation. And after that, he reported me to Child Protective Services. And I didn't know that. And I didn't know that he did that until I got a phone call while I was driving home from Child Protective Services. And they're like, hello, is this Mrs. Johnson? This is Child Protective Services. You are case number blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what? What is going on? I have a case? They're like, yes. And it was kind of scary. I'm not going to say that. It was a completely frightening phone call. I was like, what is going on? And they were really intimidating and really, really curt and talking about police and, sending people to my house and all of this. And I was like, what is going on? They're like, we need to have your home assessed. And I was like, what? And so I was only pregnant with, I didn't have any kids or anything. They just wanted to make sure that I was safe to have kids, I suppose. And so they sent over a representative from Utah Center of Assistive Technology, UCAT. And the representative, had worked with people of all disabilities for many years, and he was pretty furious, actually. He was pretty mad. He's like, this is a huge waste of my time. This is a huge waste of taxpayer money. He's like, I can't believe that I had to come up here and assess your home. He's like, you're fine. Your home is fine. There was no reason to be reported. He's like, you don't even have kids. So he took care of it for us, and I was so grateful for that. Because he has more experience with people who have disabilities. And yes, we have visual disabilities, but we also have abilities that maybe people don't see. I mean, you might have been watching this whole video and thinking man, she's holding her baby pretty awkward. Her hand looks a little bit weird, I'm holding it like I'm a 6-year-old who doesn't know how to hold my baby. And it's just the way my hands goes. My hand goes, it just sort of looks like that, and this hand just sort of looks like that. And just because it looks different doesn't mean I'm not doing it exactly right for me and for my baby, who is sleeping so soundly. Man, she loves to hear me talk. You love to hear mom talk. So anyway, I'm really grateful for people of all abilities who recognize the abilities of other people, and for people who maybe are a little bit more intimidated by someone who looks like they can't do things the same way other people do. I'm hoping that this video maybe can help all of us look at people a little bit differently. And yeah, people do things different, people look different, but we all have abilities, and we've all figured out our own little world. And yes, our worlds change and things change around us, but if we're willing to change with them and figure out how we can do what we've got to do and how we can do what we want to do, then we've truly figured out a way to keep on rolling when our life gets hard. So I hope that you're one of those people that when your life gets too hard to stand, you can keep on rolling also. She totally agrees with me. I think she totally agrees with me.